As with most modern Japanese cars, the quality of the Mazda 5's paintwork is far from ideal. As a result, scratches and chips on the body are the norm for used cars. There are also complaints about the corrosion resistance on some body elements. Most often, rust pockets are found on the edges of the hood, wheel arches, seals, and trunk door openings. Also, corrosion can affect the fastening of the chassis elements and the bottom. If, when inspecting the car, no corrosion sensors were detected, this means that the seller did pre-sale preparation, on which, as a rule, they try to save money. Therefore, we can conclude that the repair was not done well. Problem areas are painted over without removing corrosion sensors. To avoid problems with corrosion, it is necessary to treat the body with anti-corrosive every 2-3 years. Operating experience has shown that gasoline engines are very reliable and have a considerable service life. The declared resource is 350,000 kilometers, but there are instances that have already covered more than 400,000 kilometers. If we talk about common shortcomings, then this includes increased oil consumption, a small resource of oil seals, and a thermostat up to 100,000 kilometers. On a car with a mileage of more than 100,000 kilometers, you need to monitor the condition of the candle wells, and if oil begins to appear in them, you need to tighten the valve cover or replace the gasket. The 1.8 engine has proven itself well not only on this model, but also on the Ford Focus 2. The main source of this engine is floating idle speed. In most cases, the problem is fixed by flushing the throttle. In the rare cases, a flashing of the ECU is required. In addition, this motor is not without other problems inherent in Durantech: triple, vibration, extraneous noise during operation. The 2.0 engine uses a system for changing the geometry of the intake tract and valve timing, which over time present unpleasant surprises. Play appears in the intake manifold dampers. In most cases, the problem is manifested by extraneous knocks when the engine is idling. To eliminate this ailment, you will have to replace the manifold assembly. Also, it is worth noting that this power unit is very picky about the quality of fuel. When using low-quality gasoline, the engine starts to work unstable. Wrecks float, jerks appear during sudden acceleration. Instances with the 2.3 engine are very rare for our market. Therefore, statistics about it, there are practically no weak points. All gasoline engines are equipped with a timing chain drive, which does not require attention for a long time, up to 250,000 kilometers. When buying a car equipped with HBO, you should take into account the fact that the gas distribution mechanism does not have hydraulic compensators, which means that you will have to adjust the valves every 50,000 kilometers. When the power unit is running on gasoline, this procedure is carried out every 150–160,000 kilometers. If this is not done, valve burnout is inevitable. Unlike gasoline power units, a timing belt drive is used on diesel engines. The belt replacement interval is 100–120,000 kilometers, and the pump must also be changed at the same run. The Achilles heel of diesel engines is the particulate filter. It clogs quickly. Most often the problem manifests itself in cars that are operated in megacities and drive short distance. Replacing the particulate filter will cost $4,700. Like most diesel cars, the Mazda 5 uses a common rail injection system. As a rule, in our realities, fuel injectors, densely installed from the factory, do not differ in survivability, up to 10,000 kilometers, but here, the cost of replacing them can unpleasantly surprise you, about $500 pieces. Also, when using low-quality diesel fuel, the high-pressure fuel pump and the EGR valve fail prematurely. Another serious problem is the wear of the O-ring under the injectors. This defect is dangerous because it accelerated engine wear. Closer to 200,000 kilometers, the dual mass flywheel and turbine need to be replaced. Mazda 5 is equipped with two types of gearboxes, 5 and 6-speed mechanics and a 5-speed Tiptronic automatic transmission. All units are very reliable and rarely cause inconvenience to their owners. Even the clutch in mechanics with careful operation can last more than 100,000 kilometers. Some owners note a problem with the electronics, solenoid culprit error of the automatic transmission. The box goes into emergency mode, which only first, second, third gears work, or only the third one. Sometimes the problem can be fixed by removing the power terminal from the battery for 5–10 minutes. The manufacturer claims that the oil in an automatic transmission is designed for the entire service life of the unit. However, many experts do not agree with this and strongly recommend that owners change the oil and filter at least once every 100–120,000 kilometers in order to extend the life of the gearbox. In mechanics, the oil change interval is 80–100,000 kilometers. An independent McPherson-type suspension is used at the front, and an E-type independent suspension with inclined shock absorbers and low mountain springs is used at the rear. This design allows for maximum space to accommodate the third row of seats. The advantages of the Mazda 5, most owners include a well-balanced chassis, which provides a high level of comfort and good handling. As for the reliability of the chassis elements, not everything is so rosy here. Most often, stabilizer struts and bushings bother their resources 20–40,000 kilometers. Many owners solve the problem by installing polyurethane bushings. Also, the strut supports and the rear suspension wishbones are not famous for their survivability. They change every 40–70,000 kilometers. The remaining elements of the chassis, with careful operation, can last up to 150,000 kilometers. So, for example, silent blocks on the front levers go on average about 120,000 kilometers, ball bearings 120–150,000 kilometers. Often surprises and steering. As a rule, the electric power steering is installed on diesel versions, which has a tendency to overheat. Most often the problem manifests itself in the summer, causes trouble. The unpleasantness of this ailment lies in the fact that when the amplifier overheats, it turns off. It will be possible to restore the unit's operability only by restarting the engine. Steering tips go on average 80–100,000 kilometers, direction up to 150,000 kilometers. The Mazda 5 interior is made of inexpensive but wear-resistant materials, but here the sound insulation is rather weak. At speeds over 100 km/h in the cabin it becomes quite noisy. If we compare the 5 with competitors, then the peculiarity of this model is that even adult passengers can comfortably accompany it on the third row. True, in this case, for long-distance travel you will have to install an additional roof rack, since there is practically no space left in the trunk – 112 liters. As for the reliability of electronic equipment, then, as a rule, there are no problems within. If you are the owner of this car model, please describe the problems that you had to face during the operation of the car. Perhaps it is your review that will help readers of our site when choosing a car.